Barbershop Podcast, episode number 76. Coming at you from Boxo Studio in Hamilton, Ontario, the heart of the furnace, the blast furnace of rock and roll, roots, blues, country, you name it. It's a great music city. It's a great day to be alive. Ryan Cannon, how the heck are you doing? Are you done? Are you settled down a little bit?
Yeah. You know,
it's always something.
It's always something.
It's always something.
But no, I'm settled down now.
Good.
Much better.
Everything's working.
Everything's working.
We tried to go. Yeah, we tried to go to YouTube for our direct streaming last week, and because we used the artist's YouTube video, they punted us off. So we're back to our friends at Justin TV, and I'm really sorry. You know, don't hold it against us. You know, it's kind of like crawling back to your barber after you don't go there for a year. But yeah, Justin TV,
we're sorry, Justin TV.
Yeah, but
we're sorry, Justin. We didn't mean it.
We'll make it up to you.
Yeah.
We had a big rock and roll showcase on Friday, didn't we, Ryan Cannon?
Yeah, it was a great time. We had Spin Dizzy out, Death Point,
yeah. We had
Iggy Pop's new band.
Boys,
Iggy Pop's new band. Iggy,
Tommy Gunn was like rocking the place, right? And the Kents got it going. It was a nice night, 6 bands.
Beautiful night.
Beautiful night. A lot of people came out, enjoyed the rock and roll, supported Barbershop Podcast, and well, you know, it keeps us going, bringing the kind of real live music that y'all love. I know I do.
Yeah.
And this week is no different, Ryan Cannon.
It certainly is not.
In the studio this week, a Hamilton stalwart, as they say, someone who's earned their stripes and continues to do great things, make us proud. Been a big fan for many years, and we've got him tonight in the studio. How you doing, Mr. Jacob Mood?
To be here.
Good.
Thanks for having me at the podcast.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad, and I want to apologize to anyone who picks up any loud sniffles or whatnot. You all are allergic to dogs, and we do have a dog here, DOG, and I said to Ryan earlier I should put that in the protocol that there is a dog and a cat in case there are any allergy
He seems very
issues.
nice.
It's just his hair that isn't
right.
so nice.
Exactly. I'm sure he means well. Yeah,
I'm sure it's not the first time you soldiered through,
no, that's exactly right. Yeah, totally.
Well, we're going to find out about that. We're going to find about, some great stories and memories in music. And I don't know, where we usually started off is kind of, where in the heck music, came to you in general,
Well, for me, I think it was probably going back to my early days. I guess music was always on the radio. My parents always had it in the car. It was, my dad had an 8-track player, so on long trips we'd be listening to
You're dating yourself.
His collection of, I know.
You're holding up really well.
Well, thank you very much. But yeah, we were some of the last users of 8-tracks, to be fair.
Yes.
I think the fad had died out and my dad was still hanging on, clinging.
Bit of a troglodyte.
Desperate, a little bit, yeah. He liked his Roger Whittaker. Yeah. He liked his ABBA. And so that was the kind of thing we had to listen to. And I wasn't that crazy about it. But my mom would play, she'd save the day, she'd play some Simon and Garfunkel or some Bonnie Raitt, and she would just, Joni Mitchell, stuff like that. So I think the troubadours of the 70s were probably, for me, some of my first influences.
And the golden age of songwriting.
I think it was, yeah.
And the arranging, too. Like, talk about some lush arrangements.
Lush arrangements by guys like Bacharach, right?
Yeah.
And people who really just knew their way around. All the songs were just much more intricately put together. If the job of being a songwriter in training is to lift tunes and learn what you can from them, well, you can't do much better than lifting from those very well-built tunes.
Yeah.
That sort of, it started with the Beatles, and then it kind of, people sort of took it from there and infused pop with more jazz and classical influences. And it was all those lush layers that I kept coming back to, because I didn't have a lot of music to listen to. So the music that I did have to listen to, luckily, was this music from the 60s and 70s, and and early 80s, and it just had the layers that you needed to be able to hear it a million times and get something different out of it.
Exactly. You know, and especially someone who's fairly young, it was digestible. You know, because it was tuneful. And it was clearly enunciated, and you didn't have a choice back then. You listened to what your mom and your dad listened to.
It's right, and they didn't have much of a choice either.
Yeah, you're right.
Because the major media sort of decided who was going to be the stars of the day. I mean, some very unlikely stars came out at that time. I mean, think about it, right? The Carpenters.
Yeah.
It's a very unusual group to make a big stars out of. Christopher Cross, you know. These people that really don't look like pop stars today, right? I mean, it's kind of like they'd never in a million years make it today.
Yeah, I've said that before. I've seen flashback commercials and catch myself thinking, you know, how did Steely Dan ever get a record deal?
Steely Dan, you know? I know. I love Steely Dan.
Aren't they amazing?
Pieces. But like they're very obscure. Like they would just they were kind of artists were sort of. Okay, like write us some hits, but like we'll kind of leave you alone, and they'll just kind of do these sprawling 7-album deals with these bands, and they have time to explore all of their influences. And today it's really you're kind of on a short leash for, you know, if you can make the company money immediately, then you might be able to stick around. You know, but you're still not going to have as much attention as the top sort of 2% performing artists. And so it's a very different time to be an artist now than it was then, and so there's lots to be learned from that period, musically, anyways, if not about the business, because the business has changed so much. But it's that's kind of where it started for me.
Yeah. What about when you started playing?
I mean, it was I was just dicking around on the guitar, just trying to make something.
There was a family guitar sitting around.
There was a family guitar. My mom had one, which she doesn't really play anymore, but she bought a really nice one because she and my dad, they hung out with bluegrass players, and we'd have bluegrass musicians over to our house on a regular basis, and just doing late night jam sessions. And so mandolins, stand-up basses, guitars, really talented players, able to do amazing things. And so she just got caught up in it and thought, you know, I want to buy a nice guitar. And so she spent nice money on a Yamaha, and that was kind of a top-end Yamaha at the time. And I would just, when she wasn't looking, I'd sort of grab it and see if I could make a sound out of it. And then my sister got one, and I started stealing hers. And eventually, they both got fed up with me. They're like, "You need to buy a guitar." Like
they didn't give it to you at that point.
I know. It's like, haven't I
shown you?
Yeah, it's like hint. They didn't get the memo, so I had to actually sell my, my computer at the time, you know, because I was writing the video.
Gift of the Magi to yourself.
Yeah,
right? Who would have known you needed a computer to make your music? You know,
later,
30
that's
years
right. Well,
now.
the computers they had back then, you wouldn't be able to make much music on them. It's hard to make a video game play without it breaking down, but. So I had a choice whether I was going to be like a vidiot or if I was going to be like a actual musician. And so I kind of took the other fork in the road and went for, just hung out with everybody that I knew that played guitar and asked them to teach me what they knew. And and I've got I've got a musical ear, so I kind of, when I hear music, I know what it's supposed to sound like, and my hands just kept working until they found the patterns that fit things like the major scale or the chords that suited a particular song, and I would just try to get it as right as I could, and then try to perform it for my friends.
Formal training at all?
No, not at that point. Not in the high school. So it wasn't until I left high school that I started pursuing formal training to try to get into university. And there I was up against guys who've been doing it since they were 5 and, were quite well versed in all that stuff. So it was a little intimidating. I actually got kind of like a sick feeling in my stomach every time I drove by Wilfrid Laurier University, where I decided to go for music, and because it was so intimidating. There's just so many amazing musicians that were going there. And
you got to justify the tuition too, right? It's like
yeah, that's right. I mean, it was expensive. Like it was all going to be OSAP money, so I was going to have to pay it back at some point. And so, I don't know, I might have been, in a way, I might have been better off going to somewhere like Mohawk. I didn't really have my jazz chops together, though, and you kind of needed to have a certain amount of that together. But because Mohawk has just had a little more applicability to what I do now. Laurier it's a stretch to see how that connects to what I do now. But what it did was it put you on the spot, made you get your act together, perform it in a high-pressure situation, and and learn
And quite a melting pot of like-minded individuals, and now people, I imagine, right away are hooking up, but in an entirely different way, right? It's like, okay, I have a band within 3 days of.
You could, yeah. You can certainly have a string section.
Yeah.
Bands. Yeah, there's guys who played in bands for sure. Like there was definitely guys who.
Were you writing at this point?
I was writing, yeah. I would say, when do you start writing? I mean, usually when you have your first girlfriend, kind of thing. So that's what it was for me.
We're about 20 minutes after.
But exactly when it ends, then you're writing a lot. So yeah, I started writing and I recorded my first kind of like record that I don't think you can find anymore. I have 500 copies and then it was done.
Well, we're going to ask Barbershop Podcast viewership and listenership to try to find the.
Yeah, try to find that. So even give it. Yeah, if you can name it. I don't know what I'll give you. I'll give you a prize.
We'll give you a prize. We get prizes here each and every week at Barbershop Podcast. So first person into on our Facebook page, let us know what Jacob Moon's, and I'm probably Jerry Gregg will know what this is, eh?
He might. He might. Yeah, because he had to learn all those tunes. Yeah. So I went on from there to moving to Hamilton. Improbably, I just it was like one of those things. I got a job teaching guitar in Stony Creek and started playing out on the weekends and trying to make a living at music, which I was just naive. I didn't know that it was going to be as hard as it was, or that I was going to make as little money as I was going to make, and it was going to cost as much as it was going to cost to buy the gear I needed to go out and play on the weekends. And so everything about it was just ill-advised, but that's the great thing about youthful naivete.
Priceless in hindsight.
Yeah, because honestly, like you don't if you know all of the obstacles in your way, you'll never do it.
No.
Like it's only you have to be stupid enough in a way to think you can do anything, and so you need youth, optimism, and naivete, and then don't listen to your parents, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, because they really wanted me to pick something safe, so that they love me and they want to see me succeed and stuff, but I was like, sorry, I just want to fail for a while.
Yeah, in my own
you learn a lot.
way. Absolutely. So we could chat all night. The interesting, you're good. I love episodes where I don't do most of the talking, and you're good on the mic, but you're even better on the mic when you're singing. So I'm wondering if you'll lead us off with one of your tunes tonight.
Yeah, I got a song here called "Live a Little," and I'm just gonna get her in tune here. This is a song that I wrote for my wife, and we both found love the second time around, and so it's you don't know how long you have on this planet, and you don't know how you don't know what's coming tomorrow, so you have to kind of choose to live fully in the moment today, and so this is a song about that. It's called "Live a Little."
We began as things were ending, said our goodbyes to what was gone. We fell in love, not comprehending the journey we were on. I think of all the years before I met you. I can't account for all that time. I'll say it now before I forget to. I'm so grateful that you're mine. We both wear our share of scars. Some say they never fully heal. That's what keeps us real. Cares behind and live a little. You've seen my light on after midnight. You've heard me stir at break of day. I look back someday in hindsight and say I worked my life away. If our days are heaven sent, if heaven truly can be found, can't we find it now? Hey, forget about our yesterdays. Tonight I'm gonna leave all those cares behind. Live a little. My love, oh, just look at all the stars above. They're burning off the last light they've got just to see if we can live a little. If heaven truly can be found, let's find it now. Let's find it now. Hey, forget about our yesterdays, because tonight we're gonna leave all those cares behind. Live a little. My love, oh, just look at all the stars above, because they're burning off the last light they've got just to see if this love was all it's promised to be. Baby, this is our time to shine. Why don't we live a little?
Jacob Moon with Live a Little at Barbershop Podcast, live from Boxo Studio. Beautiful stuff.
Thanks, man.
Now, progression of your performance and your songwriting from the point when you released your first album.
Yeah.
What were some of the milestones, the touchstones, and the hard lessons that you learned the hard way?
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, gosh. Yeah, just moving to... So yeah, like it's moving to Hamilton, like just moving and seeing what was going on here. I mean, it was just such an eye opener. I mean, so in one night, I walked into La Luna back when it was still on King Street, and met Rob Lamoth, Mike Daly, Steve Strongman, Adam Ostrasser, Jamie Oakes, Lisa Wynn, all the people on the scene, right? Who were really doing it and really out there making music and making great music. And there was places like the Ragin' Cajun, that where you could go and hear Mike Daly and his band play, and just seeing those guys throw down, like guys like Rob Lamoth and Mike Daly were very influential for me, and Les Cooper. Just and people who've been on the scene for a long time here in Hamilton will know those names, and some of them have moved to other cities or have sort of stopped doing it as much, but many of them are still active in music, and so it's just it made me realize how far I had to go.
And still, it was a fostering, supportive environment.
Definitely.
But, and the temptation to want to put it down and walk away and say, "Holy shit," is there. But
most definitely,
I was saying the same thing. I was out down there last night, and I pointed out to someone that's where the old Luna was, and I went through the list, so I remember what come in there.
Yeah.
And I remember being so scared when I first came up there, but being a very, supportive place, and, Hamilton, Ontario, deserves to be, recognized as such.
Yeah.
We had a great Canadian pass away today. History will show that Farley Mowat died today. And for some reason that came to mind, and I'm wondering if you were in your youth or are now much of a reader, and if not, if there's an artist in particular who really affected you.
Yeah, it's funny. As I mentioned before, like when you think about artists that influence you and authors that influence you, it's people who've come before, and people sort of classic authors. For me, just growing up and the stuff that I was reading in high school sort of got a little taste going for what I was going to end up reading later. And I ended up reading a lot of social commentary and stuff, and a lot of political stuff and theological stuff and philosophical stuff. And so, people like C.S. Lewis really informed my thinking, and authors like Farley Mowat. Pierre Berton was a big one for me. I loved his writings about Canada and giving me a sense of my Canadianness and what it was that gave us our Canadian identity. And those two can be mentioned in the same sentence, Farley and Pierre. And so, the fact that we got to have Farley Mowat with us as long as we did was great, because he's right along with Pierre Berton and Margaret Atwood and Mordecai Richler have definitely been stuff that I've read over the years. So, but as far as songwriters go, I think the '70s people like definitely Jackson Browne these days. I keep coming back to Jackson Browne for some reason, as a guy who is literary in his thinking and in his writing, and who lets that inform his songs. Not afraid to use, clever turns of phrase and big words and put big ideas into his songs. They're loaded with all kinds of stuff. If you really, whether they're about the heart, which he writes so beautifully about. Bonnie Raitt has always said that he's the best songwriter when it comes to writing about matters of the heart. Songs like In the Shape of a Heart, which is or Sky Blue and Black. Those are just classic heartbreakers. So having just knowing that was something that music could do could activate your brain, but also really pull on your heartstrings, and maybe in the same song, So I was always looking to people who could do that effectively.
Do you torture yourself when you write? Like, do you mill it over and go over and rework it and hammer it, or are you pretty good at walking away when you think it still has a few gaps and a few dents that kind of give it character?
Yeah, well, my fear is that it has too many dents and too much character, that way that it can, just from the people that I look up to as songsmiths are guys like Jackson Browne. Ron Sexsmith, is another guy. Both those guys work at their songs, until they are polished gems. There's no question. There's not a word astray, And so, and some guys play fast and loose with their lyrics, and they can have a brilliance to them, like guys like Dylan. I think of people like him whose lyrics, you can listen, you can sort of read them and kind of, they read like poetry sometimes, and sometimes they're somewhat incoherent, And same with Elvis Costello, his lyrics are very poetic and very clever, but I'm not always sure he even knows what he's talking about. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And I'm always trying to make sure that at least I know what I'm talking about. Like if there's a narrative to be pulled out of your song, that at least I know what it is. There's guys who are quite content with, like David Bowie or Michael Stipe, with writing a lyric that doesn't even make sense to them. And we'll just let other people figure it out. So what does this song mean to you? Okay, then that's what it means,
Right.
And there's something absurdist about that I sort of take a bit of issue with, because it's almost philosophically offensive to suggest that that music is just inscrutable and absurd, and there's nothing to be gleaned from it that makes any sense. You know, so I kind of revolt against that a
Yes,
little bit.
we were doing what we can to eradicate that ourselves. You know,
Yeah.
giving good. It's the way we feel about music is the way health food nuts and religious zealots feel. You know, it's
Yeah.
like this is absolutely non-negotiable.
Yeah, I mean, and it's okay to get different nuances out of a song. I think like it's okay to pull different shades out, but it's like, and there's some songs that are just kind of mysterious and they're kind of poetic, and what do they mean? I don't know, but I think. And there's a beauty sometimes just to the onomatopoeic use of words, like Michael Stipe's lyrics in REM from the stuff from the 80s, particularly in the early 90s. It was very very abstract, you know, and there's something slightly, you know, it's almost like a different kind of media in that sense. It's playing with words. It's getting you to think outside the box, and that can be good too. But I think just for me to be able to stand up there and stand behind my song all by myself on stage, we better get to the end, and we better have arrived at somewhere, some destination. If I've left them out in the lurch, you know, song after song after song, it's not great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've written a lot of great songs. We're going to get to one, a video song, "Owner of a Lonely Heart."
I didn't write that one.
No, you didn't write that one. Or you'd be
I wish I would have.
cashing
That
in.
was kind of a fun one. It's sort of a fun pop song. I don't know if I wish I wrote it, but I'm glad we recovered it. Let's put it that way.
And I'm glad you did too, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of songs in that era that I think they were looking in one direction when it was like the song itself needed to be reworked. And
Yeah.
I'm certainly glad you gave it a go. And we're going to play it for you right here at barbershoppodcast.com.
Right on.
Fool yourself. You always live your life, never thinking of the future. Prove yourself. You are the move you make. Take no chances, win or loser. See yourself. You are the steps you take. You and you, and that's the only way. Shake, shake yourself with every move you make. So the story goes. Owner of a lonely heart. Owner of a lonely heart. Much better than owner of a broken heart. Owner of a lonely heart. Say you don't wanna chance it. You've been hurt so before. Watch it now, the eagle in the sky. How he dancing one and only. Lose yourself, you know, for pity's sake. There's no real reason to be lonely. Be yourself, give your free will a chance. You got to want to succeed. Owner of a lonely heart. Owner of a lonely heart. Much better than an owner of a broken heart. Owner of a lonely heart.
Owner of a lonely heart. You can find it right here on Jacob Moon's recently fresh off the press, beautiful CD, Fascination. You can get it on his website, any number of places. You're going to see the tags on the Barbershop Podcast webpage, which is, of course, barbershoppodcast.com. Smoking Band, you've played with a lot of great players over the days, and the community and how you meet people and how people are recommended and how quickly you gel and become friends and then start playing. Tell me about the group of guys that you put together for this.
Yeah, this band is a group of guys that I've never actually really had in a band. Corey Lacey on lead guitar is an old friend that has played for a lot of different people, like he's played for Mark Masry and the Lovelocks and Penny Merchants and some other bands over the years, and just a great session player. He kind of knows his way around the electric guitar, and so he always wanted to play in a band with me, but I was always like, I don't have a band, dude. I'm a solo guy. I don't do the band thing. And so for a long time, and I think if you do the band thing for too long and try to make a living, you can strike out. Like you can really.
And keeping everyone happy is a tough gig.
It's just a difficult venture just to make a democratic group like that last over time and to make a living, anyone to make a living in that. So project bands, I like that better, you know, and so I thought I'm going to just stack this full of ringers just with guys who can do it.
Yep.
So Rich Moore on bass, he's played with the New World Sun, which is, to my mind, one of the greatest live bands I've ever heard. Ever. Like, and there's people who don't even know what I'm talking about. Check them out online, New World Sun, just smoking band. So good. So he's played with them for years. And then Rob Beatdown Brown, yeah, he plays with the Stellas. He plays with a lot of different, he's a teacher, he's an educator as well in the drums, and great session player. He just did some sessions with Justin Bieber a couple months ago. And so, yeah, he's a great funky drummer, as you heard in that
just great.
Just deep pockets. And I needed somebody for this tune. And I didn't know Rob, and somebody suggested him, and said, "You got to get this guy; he's going to be great for it." And so I made the call, and I'm so glad that I did, man, because he just the minute I heard it, I was just smiling ear to ear.
Yeah.
We cut it over at Catherine North, and him and George Kohler were the rhythm section for that original track, and just tore it up. So I thought, okay, let's do this. And so these guys, they all get along well. They all enjoy the music. The first gig we did in Oshawa back in March was pretty much almost note perfect, you know what I mean? Like, as far as them just like knocking it out of the park, you know? So if anything, I'm the weak link.
Yeah, well, it makes it fun for you to project and be able to put the guitar down. You can close your eyes if you want to.
That's it, to kind of abscond from my duties of holding it all together all the time, So.
Well, we're going to get you back on your duties, and then we're going to actually hit up one of our sponsors when we get back, but we want to get in the mood, and you're going to give us a little something called Is That All You Got?
Yeah. All right, let's do it.
Darkest night, sometimes the only flickering light is from the flames beneath your feet. What can't be saved can only burn away, so what remains is all you need. When you find out what you can live on when everything's gone, well, you can take everything that I ever owned. You can swear and scream into the telephone. I'm not a victim, I'm a child of God. Is that all you got? Is that all you got? Early on, well, I understood that people do wrong. I was a witness every day. You bear the scars, where you decide which one you are, the survivor or the prey. If you knew how much hell that I've had to pay, you'd get out of my way. Well, take the last 20 years and throw them in my face. Is that all you got? 'Cause I have cried outside in the pouring rain when you tore through my life like a hurricane. You think you left me empty as a vacant lot. Is that all, baby? Is that all you got? Is that all you got? I'm a child of God. Is that all you got? 'Cause I cried outside in the pouring rain when you tore through my life like a hurricane. Think you left me empty as a vacant lot. Is that all, baby? Is that all you got? Is that all you got? Is that all you got? Is that all? All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. Hey.
All right. All right. Is that all you got? Jacob Moon off of Fascination. Beautiful CD. Did you have fun recording this one?
I did. It was fast though. Like I got the idea in August and it sort of was finished recording at the end of September.
Wow, that never happens.
Yeah, it was like super, like I worked every day and I think I like went a little deaf doing it because it was like, 8-hour tracking sessions.
How much of it were you doing
sessions.
yourself?
I was, some of it in the backyard of my house. I was cutting some electric guitars back there, definitely, and some vocals. But, we tried to kind of stick to some of the bigger studios too. Like I was at the Hive in Toronto and I was at Catherine North.
Oh, yeah.
And so, for all the big stuff, drums
and again,
bass.
that's something you learn along the way. Saying, I'm going to want a drum sound. I want a drum studio. I want to come in. I want to use this mic and this preamp. But I'm going to do this. I'm going to have my shit together. Yeah. And now I have the ability to do that and make sure it's ready to go in.
Totally.
Efficient use of time and money.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly right. Because you got a budget in your mind that you're thinking of, and you want to make sure that you spend the money in the right place. And certainly the place that you can save money is when you're overdubbing things like guitars and vocals. You can kind of, if you can find some people who can find a great sound with a remote setup, you can do that, and it's no problem. It's just when you're doing things that make a lot of noise like drums and it's sensitive stuff, so you want to make sure it has a sense of spaciousness.
Right.
And so we did it there, and it was great. It was a great experience for sure. And there was a lot of people that put their heart and soul into it, so it wasn't just me.
Yeah. Well, doing covers can be a risky venture, and it can be a rewarding one too. Someone who I dearly love is Selena Martin, and she does a Rush cover, "Spirit of Radio," and just knocks the socks off it. Just love watching her do it. And tell me about what you did on this record.
Yeah, there's a 2-song by Rush on there. There's a song called "Limelight" and "Subdivisions." Subdivisions is.
Must have been really influential because it was for me. Those 2 songs were huge for me.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you're coming up, if you came up though, like we did, and you were paying attention to music in the '80s, video television was something that was like music video television was something that was in its infancy in the early '80s, and while it was there was a video for Subdivisions that was one of the few videos that were out there in a way. So they got a lot of rotation, right? Because it's like first of all it's Canadian content. They kind of had to, but then it also was a good little video, and it was evocative of the experience of living in the suburbs. And just feeling a little bit like, where do I fit in, and do I have to conform, and because everything around you looks like it's kind of suggesting that you do have to conform. Every third house looks the same. Yeah. Everybody's kind of towing the line in a way, and so if you feel a little different, or if you think a little different, then it can be kind of an alienating time. And so I think that feeling stuck with me, and that resonance was there. So when I heard the song again. In 2005, I think it was, I heard them play it live, and I thought to myself, you know what? That's a great song, and if it's a great song, you should be able to just play it you and your acoustic guitar. And there's a little more to it than that, It's like,
well, I think a lot of people, they made up their mind in that era that they hated Rush. They didn't like Geddy Lee's voice, and so they wouldn't give it the rest a chance. And a lot of people did that with Dylan. A lot of people did that with Neil Young.
Yeah.
And quite often, until other people start covering the songs, where people turn around and go, oh, that's a beautiful song, because they're willing, to let their defenses down.
That's right. Then the song can shine, and it's not weighed down by the baggage of what you thought of the band that first made it popular. Yeah, and I think if it's a good song, then it can survive that transition. Do you get people
coming up to you like shocked that that's a Rush song when you tell them?
Yeah, like there's a lot of women who really don't want to hear any Rush songs ever, and so when you play that song for them, they're kind of they don't really want to give it a chance, but then when they hear it, they're like, you know what? I'm not a Rush fan, but I love that song. I love the way you did it. So there you go. So it's just, if you can kind of make people think of it in a different way, I think that's
that's a win-win situation.
It's a win-win. I think it's a win-win, because it's a win for me, and I think for the band. I mean, I spoke to Neil Peart about it because I got a chance to play it for them when they were inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame back in 2010. And he crossed the room to talk to me, which he doesn't usually talk to people after shows, right? He usually gets on a motorcycle and goes somewhere we can be alone, because he's a shy guy. Yeah. But he actually talked to me, and he said, like, thanks for making that song into a singer-songwriter song, because that's kind of how I saw it when I wrote it. And we turned it into this anthem, and it's been like that ever since. But it always had that intimacy that I think you kind of revealed in your version of it. And so that was very gratifying to hear that what I was doing somehow was. And it was on, sharing a wavelength with Neil Peart. It's kind of crazy to think of that.
Yeah,
so yeah,
absolutely. Well, I'm dying for our fans to share a little bit of it with us right now. Here's Limelight on barbershoppodcast.com.
Right on.
Living on a lighted stage approaches the unreal. For those who think and feel in touch with some reality beyond the gilded cage. Barriers to keep oneself intact. Living in the limelight, the universal dream for those who wish to see, those who wish to be. Let's put aside the alienation. Get on with the fascination, the real relation, the underlying theme. Living in a fisheye lens, caught in the camera eye. I have no heart to lie. I can't pretend a stranger is a long way.
barbershoppodcast.com. Jacob Moon with Limelight. Well, music is a great teacher. Certainly was for me. I wasn't reading a lot of Keats and Shelley when I was growing up, but was motivated. It stimulates the left and the right part of the brain, and I think it's being marching an army or building a bridge. It's music is part of the experience, and I have a feeling it's always been a bit of a higher calling for you. How do you see music? Can you even perceive yourself in a life without music?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it's such a big part of how I see the world and how everything's related back to music, to lyrics that I've heard, and it's helped me make sense of things. It's how I feel like God has spoken to me over the years. Like I feel like I've had like huge watershed moments where like music has played a key role in accompanying some major life decision or some major life moment, like when we met the child that we ended up adopting. One of my songs was playing on the radio at that moment. It was a song I wrote for my wife about waiting for kids. Like stuff like that happens, and you're like, oh, okay, so like so in that sense, I know I can't conceive of life without music, and I think it's as elemental as sort of the elements, you know what I mean, and the fire, water, rock, whatever the other ones are.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's just like it's just such a part of. For me, it's like it's the only thing that makes you feel like homesick for a place you've never been.
You can smell Grandma's kitchen like that.
Yeah.
When you hear that song, you know exactly where you were that summer and what you were doing, and that kid with the funny red hair that you hadn't thought about.
Well, it is, and it's evocative of things you have experienced before and places you have been as well, for sure, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's horribly undervalued. I constantly say that. This is why we're doing one of the things we're doing, and I've said it time and time again. I thought my Rolodex was fairly substantial, but it's tiny. It's like any kind when you open your eyes to how ignorant we really are and how the world offers so much. Music is the same way. As soon as you let your defenses down about what you don't like and why you don't like it, and just allow yourself to just, your soul to judge the music, it opens up, so many more experiences, so many more people's lives who they've boiled that down, that life lesson down, their story down into something that you can absorb in such an intense way in such a short period of time. Before we run out, I'm going to get you to back on the Git box.
Yeah, man.
You're singing and you're sounding and playing so good tonight.
Well, thanks, man.
I'm going to insist that you're going to give us a little something I believe called Great Beyond.
Yeah, this is the song called The Great Beyond. I wrote this in Hamilton a few years ago, and it's all about taking a chance. It goes something like this.
Feet on the ledge, don't I feel like the edge of the universe? Looking down, now you get it, feel the spin in your head, it's like an insane urge to jump out of this skin, to jump out of this skin. When you fall, would you feel it at all? Would your feet touch ground? Would your soul take flight like you waited all your life to be outward bound? To see what no one sees, to touch the mystery. Hey, can you see me now? Growing smaller in your window, 'cause something deep inside me leads me on, taking me to the great beyond. You hear the sound of the cars and you know where you are, where you've always been. In a world of space and time, don't you find that it pulls you in? But every day's the same. Oh, every day's the same. Well, I always believed that there was something more. Now, piece of heaven that I never had an explanation for. 'Cause everything that is, it points to more than this. Hey, can you hear me now? 'Cause I've been following the whisper that calls my name. I know that it's leading me on where my own reflection's gone into the great beyond. Oh, everything that is points to more than this. Oh, everything that is. Hey, can you see me now? 'Cause I've been following the whisper that calls my name. I know that it's leading me on where my own reflection's gone into the great beyond.
Beautiful little demonstration there of touch and technology and sweetness.
Oh, thanks, man.
You classify yourself as a gearhead? You do drool when a Guitar
No,
Player magazine
I wish I
comes
knew
out?
more about gear. I had
Yeah.
to learn the hard way just to keep my gear working, so it doesn't let me down on stage. I had to kind of learn what makes it work, but I still don't fully understand the basics of electronics, to be totally honest. I just know how to get my cursed gear to work when
Right.
it needs to work. I give it the Fonzarelli touch, and give it the smack when it needs it. That's about it.
For someone in your situation who's obviously got full arrangements bouncing around in your head,
Yeah.
like having something like a looper pedal must be like a little godsend right there. Really, it's like thank you.
Yeah.
It's opening up doors for me. And
Yeah, I mean, we got to the point where it's just another pedal. It's like a distortion pedal or a delay pedal or whatever. It's just it's what you're going to do with it. What's your particular creative touch on the looper pedal? Because lots of guys are using them, lots of gals too. And so it's for me. I love it, and I love to use it in an organic way so that it serves the song if possible, and it makes it so that you're never really ripped out of a song. It's just enhancing the song that's already there. So as opposed to it being super, gimmicky and calling attention to itself. It's like, hey, look, I'm looping.
Yeah.
I don't even mention it in my shows. Like a lot of guys will stop and explain what they're doing and stuff like that. And people are grown ups. I let them figure it out.
it's fun.
Yeah.
It's like trying to figure out when you're going to a live music show what the person is doing as part of the fun, because a lot of times it's a packaged business. It's already done, and to be able to experience live music, not enough people get to see how it comes out. And a show like this, people could see, wow, this doesn't come out of a factory. It's, in fact, if I went to a live show, I could see something like this. I could experience it.
That's right. No, that's right. And that's been my experience with this. The most moving shows have been the ones that I've witnessed go down. And I saw Pat Metheny do a thing a few years ago that almost made me want to give the whole thing up. Like he did this thing where he did looping on the grandest scale that maybe anyone will ever do as a solo artist. I don't know if anyone's ever going to top it. And you can look it up, Pat Metheny Orchestrion, if you want to see exactly what he's doing. But he's basically triggering sort of prepared instruments with his guitar and looping. And he can move the whole thing up a minor third if he wants to and solo up there. And it's like, it blew my mind. I didn't fully understand what I was even seeing. I just knew that it was him playing because of the extemporaneous way that he was approaching each song and how it was, still had the spirit of jazz in it. There's nothing kind of pre-recorded about it, So, and that's the spirit that I try to take to those stuff that I'm doing, so that I can be different from night to night if I want it to be. So.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, in particular, a great friend of the show. He's been on the show. He's a musician. He's a teacher. He's a great supporter of the arts, and he is editor of Greater Hamilton Musician Magazine.
When's the next issue coming out?
Brown.
That's what I want to know.
It's online every month, and once a year he's gonna look to go to twice a year, and then perhaps 3 times a year. It's an expensive process still putting a print magazine out.
We love it though. We love you, Glenn, wherever you are, man.
Yeah,
Thanks,
Mr.
buddy.
Glenn Brown, a Canadian musician. Maybe I can wear that as like a hat. There we go. Glenn Brown. Hamilton Musician Magazine. We've got a few copies. He gave us a box to give away certain copies to very special people. I will give you a copy of Greater Hamilton Musician Magazine and a copy of Steelworkers Waltz for the first person who can get a hold of us on our, what do you want to go, Twitter this time, Ryan Cannon?
Yeah,
might as well. Let's give Twitter a shout out there, because we're on Google Plus. And we're on, people, did they shut Google Plus down yet?
I think they did.
I did pretty
It might not last the night.
The night, okay. We're still there. This is your last chance to get a hold of us on Google Plus. Why did I mention that first?
It's also available on Friendster and Foursquare.
It's all good.
Yeah.
On our Twitter account, @Podcast Barber. Okay, get a hold of us. If you type in Barbershop Podcast, you'll be able to get a hold of us. But @Podcast Barber, and tell us the name of Jacob Moon's latest, greatest CD. I'm not going to make it too easy for you to read that. All right?
There. Yeah, I couldn't see it.
Well, I mentioned it before. Okay,
Man,
there you go.
It's like an episode of Half-Wits.
So that's right. And to save postage, I will drive it to your house. Unless you're some of my friends up in North Bay, and I might not do that.
What an offer!
But we will somehow get that to you. We'll get a copy of that to you. Let's see. I don't know, Ryan. Do you feel more like CD track, or you feel like video-y?
There's one video in particular I want to see.
You want to see it?
That's actually I saw quite a long time ago and was super impressed with.
Well, why don't you lay that on us?
And that is on top of Subdivisions. On top of that was the Staircase Theater, right?
You got it.
Yeah, I saw that years ago. Somebody sent that to me, and that's one of my favorite tunes. And that's the first time I ever heard of you, was seeing this video. And yeah, I'm a huge fan of it, and I'd love to see it right now.
Right on.
All right, well, we're going to get you that right here at barbershoppodcast.com.
Subdivisions. Sprawling on the fringes of the city in geometric order, an insulated border in between the bright lights and the far unlit unknown. Growing up, it all seems so one-sided. Opinions are provided, the future's pre-decided, detached and subdivided in the mass productions on. Nowhere is the dreamer or the misfit song. In the high school halls, in the shopping malls, conform or be cast out. In the basement bars, in the backs of cars, be cool or be cast out. Any escape might help to soothe the unattractive truth, for the suburbs have no charms to soothe the restless dreams of you. Moths we drift into the city, the timeless world attraction, cruising for the action, lit up like a firefly, just to feel the living night. Some will sell their dreams for small desires, or lose the race to rats, caught in ticking traps, start to dream of somewhere to relax their restless flight. Somewhere out of memory, lighted streets on a quiet night. In the high school halls, in the shopping malls, conform or be cast out. In the basement bars, in the backs of cars, be cool or be cast out. Be cool or be cast out. Any escape might help to soothe the unattractive truth, but the suburbs have no charms to soothe the restless dreams of you.
Good times. Good times. Wonderful little stories you were sharing about that video. Ryan, you shoot video, so just, some fortuitous events happened. Why don't you share some of the highlights of that video shoot?
Well, yeah, I mean, that video shoot was Ron Kevick and Steve Strangways pulled together a crew to move all our gear up onto the rooftop, and we basically had enough time once it was all set up to play it 3 times in a row. And so we did it, and the third time was the charm as far as the performance goes. But for some reason the timing lined up so that it was in exactly the same metronomic marking, so the same speed, all 3 times.
Which is not easy to do twice.
I wasn't trying to do it. It was like some savant like quality that I had where I was able to play it in the same tempo. But and then we were able to use any video that we wanted to match up to that. And mostly it was from the third take, but because you can see the sun going down there. But we were able to pull stuff in. If
Looks
it
like you
better.
meant to do it that way. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I mean, it was, and videos are like that. I mean, a lot of guys are making, guys like Southern Souls and Wooden Wires. There's guys out there making a lot of music videos. Like they'll make a few music videos every week, and they just ask the band to show up with their instruments, play it live off the floor. They'll do it 2 or 3 times tops, and then they're done. And so there's more a move towards this kind of live performance capture in interesting locations.
Yeah. I think people are hungry for authenticity on all levels.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we know that computers can make it all sound perfect, but what can make it sound more human and interesting?
Exactly.
You know?
You're sharing stories. And one of them, we got a couple of buddies loving the podcast, Kevin Pauls and Mark Masry. Friends of yours? Yeah. Kevin, I remember from my first wife, Sharon, and the daughter of Igor and Herda, and wonderful, very musically, gifted family.
Yeah, Kevin. I just played with Kevin not too long ago, and he's got a terrific voice and great talent, for bringing people together to make a big sound. And so that particular gig was really fun. I got to play with Rich Moore, who I play with all the time in the band, but also Joel Parisian and Mark Rogers and some other singers. It was great.
Well, keep in mind, let anyone know if you're watching this on YouTube later that we do stream live on Justin TV. We put that link out all the time. It's justin.tv/barbershop podcast.
We also got a shout out too from Darren from BC that just popped up.
Darren, I think I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah,
he just popped in. Good job, Jacob, on your podcast performance.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah. So
Darren,
you can pop
you're
on.
The man.
Yeah, you can watch it every week live, and you can ask the guest a question that you may have, or if you're an old-time friend or bandmate, you can bring up a story that we can ask him, prompt him, perhaps something he's trying to hide from his evil past.
Please, bring it on. I say.
It's all good. As the technical man about town, Ryan, what are some of the things you would like our viewers to do? Like and share our page, correct?
Oh, yeah. We don't say this enough. Yeah,
no,
like the Facebook page. Yeah, we never promote ourselves. Like the Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter at Podcast Barber. Barbershoppodcast.com, of course.
Yeah.
You get all the updates every week. And we will be broadcasting on Justin TV from here on in. We're not going to mess around with YouTube and their tight policies anymore.
Jack Boots. Enough of that. Shutting us down. Nobody shuts us down.
Yeah.
Nobody puts baby in a corner. It's not happening.
Tell them.
All right. So I don't know. We've got a couple things up on deck. Revelation and In Your Eyes. Do you have a preference? What are we going to roll?
Yeah,
first?
Revelation, I would say, because it's an original song. Actually, this is an album of covers, but there's 2 original songs. Is All You Got is a song I wrote for my cousin Michelle when her house burned down, and Revelation is a song that I wrote that's I wrote it for, I was entering this contest, this boss looping contest, and they said, you got to write a song. Can't be a cover of anything. So it was a great opportunity to write a song. And so I started, I wrote just what came out, and that's the song that came out. And it's got kind of some interesting musical twists to it, and it's a little different sound-wise for me. It's got a harder kind of rock edge, mixed with kind of a Southern Gothic kind of vibe to it.
Nice.
And so it's kind of an intriguing little track. It's fun.
Is that Traco Ocho there, Ryan?
Yeah, there's a video for it as well.
You want to do the video?
It's kind of fun.
Let's do the video.
Yeah.
Because videos are fun.
It just came out.
We could do that. We can do that. This is our new software. It's all rocking and rolling. Ryan Cannon is obviously doing a great job. You are, I think, the third. Is he a third? Or, yeah, I think third.
Second
or third?
Second, because last week was YouTube that shut us down. So, yeah. Third.
But Framus was on for the first time we had it, right? So this is the first time we're getting it right.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to have a little sweet video from Jacob Moon on Barbershop Podcast. This is Revelation.
Cold out, no sound, pray and run down. Hear me, find me, chains still bind me. Need a revelation, need a revelation.
Yeah. What a great tune. What a great night. What a great guest. Jacob Moons, thank you so much for coming in. Well, you know, you braved you braved the the dog. You sang like a champ.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks. It's it's coming up in the summer months when it's going to be tougher and tougher to sing, but this is training me.
You got to suffer for your
You got to
art.
suffer. You got to have adversity to get any better at anything. So
Well, each and every week, come suffer with us here at Barbershop Podcast. Little suffering up from Ryan Cannon next week. You're going from a beautiful opportunity, a single singer-songwriter to the Human Orchestra, which is a band with 2 horns and 8 people, but I think they're just bringing 5 or 6 in next week. So it's going to be a big show.
It'll be a good test to the noise-canceling monitors.
Yes. Well, each and every week we're bringing it to you, and we're so happy to do so. This week it was Jacob Moon. Who knows? You know, this is something that you're going to help us build because you love music, you love this city, and we love you. Thanks for coming out, everyone.
Thank you.